Go. Hello everybody and welcome. Welcome to the City of Rockingham event today, talking about suicide prevention because it is International Suicide Prevention Awareness Day. We're here with IPL Radio and I have Cav Fullerton here with me. Hello Cav.
Hey Mish.
Thank you for you've been playing some music and it's been great. That last song was perfect for this situation. It was Stand By Me.
Yep.
I really love that one.
Yeah, I thought because most of the time my music is big rock anthems, and so this, today was I had to go really down into my soft, heartstrings and try and pick up some few, songs that have a powerful meaning, either coming over tough times or coming together or.
I was going to ask you, when you go into an event or when you've been booked for an event, and for example today, you obviously do go into all your songs and pick out the ones that are best for the situation.
Yeah, this gig was kind of because I've worked with the people that booked me today. I did an event for them last year for the same thing, so I kind of just had some of the songs from the set that I did last year and I've just kind of bring them into this one, and I've removed some of the songs and I've added some more ones, and yeah.
No, I think you picked out some really good ones, and as I said, that last one was just absolutely perfect. Stand By Me was absolutely perfect. And I was just talking to Tris earlier that it must be so hard for a performer to stand on stage and have little reaction from a little audience. How does that affect you? Or does it?
It only affects me if there's any bad looks. If there's no bad looks and there's no judgmental eyes, I'm fine. But as soon as I see if there's no judgmental eyes, I can do it.
But what if there's no one looking at you at all?
I just imagine I'm playing to a stadium full of thousands.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. That's a really good mental health thing to do. Just imagine that you're Justin Timberlake standing up on the stage and you've got millions and thousands of people watching.
Maybe not Justin Timberlake, but yeah.
What?
We'll go.
Come on. Not one of your favourites?
Probably not, no.
Why, really? Okay, what would be your favourite?
At the moment, I've really started getting into You Am I. And, Fleetwood Mac. Because there's a Fleetwood Mac tribute show going on at the moment called Yesterday's Gone, and it had Karen Lee Andrews, Fanny Lumsden, Charlie Collins, and then Cav Templey from Eskimo Joe, who was playing Lindsay Buckingham. So I saw a few songs from that, and I kind of started feeling my way into the Fleetwood Mac world, and so I've kind of been listening to them a lot lately, but I've not really been a huge goer for, the modern day music scene.
Yeah, I'm hearing that.
I was so all my old stuff, and yeah, it's You're My at the moment is a big thing for me.
Have you been influenced by parents or family or older friends to move into the 70s, 80s era?
Definitely Dad. He was born in the 70s, so he's 70s, yeah. So he's obviously he's grown up with people from all the way back then to, it's not that long ago, but to all the way up to the beginning of the 2000s, but I haven't really gone into the more modern stuff yet. But I can't really talk because I learned a Taylor Swift song, so I'm not as Swifty, but I learned so Something for Kate, who's a band over east. They did a Triple J a version of Cardigan, and it's actually the only Taylor Swift song that I like. So I learned that. I was oh.
Because a little bit of the music you've played today, there's a slight individuality about them. Do you change them purposely, or it's just a feeling that you have? It wasn't, okay, we're not listening to it on a radio situation or live, but I just felt there was a little bit of individuality there. I guess it's because you're playing for yourself anyway.
When I perform other people's songs, I will make them so that you can tell that it's that song, but I like to put my own spin on it and make it my own as well.
Yeah, I definitely heard that, which was great because, as I said, it wasn't note for note. that we listened to on the radio or whatever. It wasn't note for note. So, and it was great that you brought in your individuality. So it's brilliant. You've got something coming up. What events have you got coming up?
So I'm in Geraldton tomorrow. Wow. But the 25th of September, I'm at the Mandurah Performing Arts Centre doing a songwriting showcase with a bunch of other amazing musicians, and we're all doing original stuff. So all songs that we've written, we've collaborated with other people in that group. So tickets are only $10. So it hasn't sold out. So like, get tickets because it'll be a really amazing show. It's called Off the Record. So we're cut. So so last year it was literally called the Songwriters Club Showcase. Like, that was the first year. So the first year we were a bit like, we're slowly getting into it. And then this year, Naya, who is one of the people that applied for the do this club, came up with the Off the Record name, and now we've kind of done it off like an old retro record store. So we're gonna have records hanging down from the stage, and we're gonna have billboards of old vintage styles, and so
that sounds really interesting. So that's through Manpack, which is the Mandurah Performing Arts Centre. Excellent. So I think they've definitely got a website that you can get tickets through them.
Yeah, and I've also posted a link on my socials as well. So
that's excellent. Can we just quickly go into the mental health side of things? Is music to you your calm?
Definitely. If I'm angry, or if I'm upset, if I'm upset and listen to music, I just cry more. It's just therapy. If I'm angry, I listen to music. If I go for a walk, I listen to music because I hate walking. But if I have music, I kind of I pretend I'm in a music video, and I just it's my mind. It's very imaginative at times. So I'll just music helps me with a lot of things.
Yeah. You know what? I this is my mantra, and I always say this. I was going to have a tattoo, but I still haven't done it. I have a therapist, and their name is music. It's just, therapy is my music, and I think it is for a lot of people as well, because it can bring you down, but it can also make you in the best place ever. You know how when you're feeling down, and there's that one piece of music that will always bring you out? Do you have that one piece of music? Or is it, are there many?
I'll check my playlist.
Okay, check your playlist. Yeah, because the other day I actually contacted someone who posted a song, and it was quite upbeat. And I said to him, have you got any other upbeat songs that you could recommend? And he actually sent me his playlist. So now I've got this. That's Al. Thanks, Al. So I've actually got this playlist, which is great, and it's something that I would never have thought about picking, but it's really good. So my song is Blue Monday by New Order. It's very electric. Come on. Okay. Blue, you need to listen to it. Blue Monday by New Order. It's not your type of thing, though, but it always gets me out of the blues. So now you're checking your playlist now. Pick one.
I don't know. Lately, yeah, so the albums I've been listening to is UMI's fourth album, Tea and Sympathy by Bernard Fanning. And
UMI, they're an 80s? Where are they from?
No, 90s.
90s? Okay.
90s. I actually found out Tim Rogers was actually started off as a footy player as a kid in Kalgoorlie, and then moved over to St Kilda. So when I found out he was from WA, I was a bit shocked.
And more interested in listening?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Are you a WA boy?
Yes, yeah. Born and raised in Rocco.
Oh, really? He's a Rocco boy. That's a good thing. Thank you so much for joining us today. And what have you got planned the rest of the day today?
So after this, I'll go pack up and start travelling up to Geraldton.
That's right, you've got a big trip to Geraldton. Is that a holiday or a gig?
Gig. So I do a gig tomorrow afternoon, but last time I drove up on the day of my gig, I was pretty exhausted.
Yeah. No, it's too much. You've really got to take it the day before. Yeah. Make a trip of it, weekend of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much, and all the best for that, and all the best for your songwriters Off the Record in Manpack coming up shortly. And hello to everybody that's here today for the City of Rockingham's event, and we'll be back with some more music. Thank you. Okay. Welcome to the City of Rockingham. It's Suicide Prevention Awareness Day today. International Suicide Prevention Day today. And we're here with John. John, tell me a little bit about yourself and why you're here.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. John Eddy from Roses in the Ocean, and I do a little bit of moonlighting with standby support after suicide as well, and Anglicare WA, so I've got a few hats. My main role is I'm Safe Space Project Coordinator with Roses in the Ocean, so I literally get the privilege of zipping around the country helping communities to set up their community-led safe spaces.
Excellent. So tell me a little bit about roses. Is it roses around the ocean?
Roses in the ocean.
Roses in the ocean. I've received my rose today and I appreciate that very, very much because it's the only rose I'll probably ever have or have had in a very long time, and it's very precious. So thank you so much. Tell us more about that service.
Roses in the Ocean, an absolutely incredible organisation. I discovered them through a capacity building workshop called Our Voices of Insight, and it changed the direction of my life after losing my son to suicide. The entire organisation, everyone who works for them has their own lived experience of suicide, and our definition of lived experience of suicide is someone who's bereaved like suicide, someone who's survived a suicide attempt, someone who lives with ongoing thoughts of suicide, or someone who cares for someone who's suicidal. And we do a lot of work. It's an amazing organisation. Look it up. I would really encourage you to. We do advocacy, we do capacity building workshops. We've got an amazing warm line, which is not like Lifeline. You can actually just ring up and talk to someone about what's going on with suicide. So it's not a crisis line as such, but you can find someone who's got a similar lived experience. The safe spaces that I'm involved in, which is safe spaces for someone to go when they're in suicidal distress, and just to talk to someone. There's an alternative to emergency department, so it's non-clinical. And also we do in community as well, which is we'll go to people themselves and have a cup of coffee with them and just talk about suicide. Yeah, it's an incredible organisation.
Admittedly, I actually have never heard of it before, so I apologise for that. And I also lived experience with suicide, and it's really, really difficult. And it's hard to talk about. It's hard to talk about because you expect people to not understand. But if you have people that have been in a lived experience, whether it be an attempt or someone has passed, it's really a nice thing to be able to have someone to talk to. How do people get hold of you? Because as I said, I've never heard of you before, and it's an amazing service that you provide. How do people get hold of you?
I guess, number one, social media. We've got a presence across all social media. So you could just literally look up Roses in the Ocean and also just Google it and come up, look at the website. I should know the warm line number off by heart, and my boss would be most upset with me, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. It's... suicide is a human condition, and from my experience, it's harder to find people that have not got a lived experience than have it. Whether we talk about it or not is very, very different. I personally have a really, really long ongoing history with suicide in lots of forms, as a lot of people do, but there's still a lot of stigma around the topic, and the more we talk about it, the more we make it open and honest for people to come forward and discuss it, the more lives we're going to save. It's as simple as that. And I often do a bit of public speaking, and I start it with, be careful, I'm going to swear a bit, I'm going to say the S word, and that S word is suicide. Just get it out there. Let's bring it out of the shadows, because it happens, and it will happen, and it has happened, and we've got to talk about it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very much my mental health awareness is a very big thing for me as well. Same thing. There's a stigma with it. I'm very open with about my mental health situation, and I encourage people to do the same thing, because it is a matter of talking about it. Because if we don't talk about it, it's always hush hush, but it's always going to be there. It's always going to be there, and without bringing it out to the open, being able to talk to someone about it, or sitting in a circle and talking about it, anything like that. Just even if it's a circle where people don't respond, but you get a chance to talk with no response, it's just being able to talk about it, and it's just an amazing thing to do. Do you do community groups?
Well, there's the in community is operating here in parks. We've got several of them across Australia, and it's in the progress of expanding and evolving. We have a collective online, so you can do some Roses training, and then you can join a collective and be a part of the amazing organisation. And you just need a lived experience of suicide, which like we're talking about, not everyone, but most people can have. There's lots and lots of different ways to be involved with lots of different groups. It doesn't necessarily have to be Roses in the Ocean. But it's just come forward and talk about it. And I was a part of I still am part of the Warm Line, so I'm a volunteer on the Warm Line since its inception a few years ago. And I often talk to other bereaved parents, and just having them heard, the feeling they get when they're heard, and say, I've been feeling suicidal myself because I've lost my child. I mean, to me, it's a natural response to something so traumatic. And it's very, very powerful, that connection for them and also for me, for what I'm going through. It's an amazing thing.
Because you said earlier, non-clinical, and I think that's the thing, because we go to GPs and there's no emotion. I mean, some are different from others, obviously, but so to be able to talk to someone that's non-clinical, that's actually lived that experience, is two polar opposites. And to be able to talk to someone who's been in that experience, there's a sense of, I'm not alone. I'm not alone in this. It does happen to other people, and it does happen to a lot of people. We were talking earlier before, there's not many people coming into here today, which is a little disappointing, but I said to the lady, I said, we need that one person, just that one person to come in who needs us, and that's all we need today. It doesn't matter whether there's 50 people walking through that door, it's just that one person that we need to come through that door that we can help. So it's just a brilliant thing, and great for the City of Rockingham to be doing this. It's been a brilliant morning, and I think maybe we have spoke to that one person, so let's just take that home with us today. So have you had much response over in your little corner?
Yeah, there's been everyone who's come in is having a walk past and picking up some flyers about everything we're doing, which is great. Yeah. And just speaking to the non-clinical support, it's some people will need clinical support, and there's nothing wrong with that. And we've got to provide as many options as we can for people. And I honestly believe that when we will actually start dropping suicide numbers significantly is when clinicians, people with lived experience, and the researchers all work together hand in hand, and that's when we're going to really, really make an impact on numbers. The more options we provide, the more people we're going to catch. So. Absolutely.
Because one thing's not, also we were talking about this before, the one thing that might hurt one person is not necessarily going to help somebody else. So if there's plenty of options out there, give them all a try and find out which one works for you, because not one thing will work for you, so just because it has worked for that one person and it's been an amazing situation for them, it may not resonate in you. So there's plenty of things out there that can be tried. And the other thing too is when you go to counsellors or anything like that, that one counsellor might not be right for you either, and it's okay to move on to somebody else. So it is there's plenty out there. Google it. Please just look for the help. There's plenty out there. City of Rockingham have got things on their website as well. As I said, just Google help for what you need, mental health or the suicide. So thank you so much for joining us today, John, and appreciate you talking.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure.
What's the rest of your day looking like?
Driving back to Busselton, I was at the Out of the Shadows walk for Lifeline at 5:30 this morning, so I left at about 1:45.
Good for you. Well done. Well, thank you for being here, because that's a big effort. Good for you. Well done. High five, I think. Good job. Back to you.
Okay, we're here at the Gary Holland Centre, and we're looking at suicide prevention today. And I've got with me here the lovely Ellie. Say hello, Ellie.
Hi.
And Ellie is an artist. Tell us about what kind of art you do, Ellie.
So my own art practice is mostly illustrations and paintings and in portraiture. I play a little bit with animation, but I often don't finish anything.
Animation, I love that. The whole idea of taking something and just a little bit of twist, but I'm not very patient at it.
Yeah, a lot of it takes time.
and today you've done a wonderful job. You've done a collage piece here for us today.
Thank you. Yes, we've been providing a community mural to add to. So it's been pasted up onto a board for Roses in the Ocean to keep.
And Roses in the Ocean are?
So they are a peer support, I believe.
Peer support? All right.
Phone call service, is that right?
I'm not quite sure. I don't know. I quite got to their table. I've been social chatting here, but I'd like you to tell us a little bit why you think art is so important in dealing with trauma.
Yeah. So we started our business because me and my business partner.
What is your business name?
We're called Art Jam.
Art Jam
WA. Me and my business partner both have lived experience.
What is your business partner's name?
Cheryl.
Cheryl, okay.
We both have lived experience of mental illnesses and issues, and have both found that art is a fantastic way for us to feel better. And we noticed...
How does it make you feel better?
So
what does it give you?
I find there's a few different ways.
Yes.
So you've got this real catharsis, this letting out,
Yes.
where you can really deal with something that you can't process.
So taking it out of the brain and putting it outside of the body?
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. So sort of that physical, kinesthetic thing. You've also got that kind of more...
so that's cathartic.
Yeah, I call it like cathartic, and yeah, very expressive.
Expressive.
Yeah. There's also things like just focusing on something, you know, staring at something small like a little Banksia nut and
shifting
trying...
your vision.
Exactly. Changing your focus.
Changing your focus, shifting your vision.
Yeah.
They're really, really good tools to have in the mental health work belt, aren't they?
Exactly.
Tool belt. I call it a mental health tool belt.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way we do it as well is to connect people. So art can be such a good social buffer. It's a bit easier to chat to someone when you've got something to do.
Do you think that's part of the side-by-side aspect of art?
Definitely.
It opens up those conversations in the sharing of the work.
Absolutely. It opens up more meaningful, deeper conversations as well.
And gives people a space to share the stories that go with the work that they're creating.
Absolutely.
And what do you see as far as the confidence building that comes from what you do?
Oh, it's incredible to see. You know, I've said to a few people today, I noticed so many people get to a certain age where if they're not so good at art, as they say, they stop making it. But everyone who engages with us, when they have a go just at something really simple, cutting and gluing or colouring in, they just say, it brings so much joy and it feels so nice to do, and why don't I do this? So it gives them the confidence to try again at something they don't think they're necessarily good at.
The thing that I like about art and that I release when I'm working in art is that it engages my inner child.
Yes, yes.
And that gives my inner child a place to come forward and express in a happy way.
Absolutely. It can really encourage a sense of play. And we don't get many chances for that as adults.
Not at all, not enough.
Yeah.
Not enough. I think in many ways we're voyeurs, that we go to the theatre, but to be action.
Yes. We're always watching, particularly in this world of content. There's always content, and particularly art content. Anyone who's out there creating, they're probably feeling pretty negative about their work because of all the amazing work they see online. So it's all about getting into it and doing it yourself. And not comparing.
Absolutely, that's the bit I was going to go to. They're not comparing. I think the comparing part is and learning to not compare was actually a big part in the shift in my personal focus in my mental health journey.
Yes.
In order to help balance out my injustice rage, why did somebody else get that and I didn't?
Yes.
It's that comparison. And I think when we're kids at school, we don't compare, do we? When we're doing art, and as kids, we just want mum to be proud of us.
Yes, yes. And I do find we don't really work with little kids very much, but younger kids are expert artists.
Yes.
They know how to play
because they haven't brought
and
the critics
explore.
in yet.
Exactly. It hasn't been trained out of them yet.
Yeah, absolutely that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're saying is that the personal critic, the grown-ups in us, to express joy. You might have noticed, I'm a little bit of an excitable cat.
Yeah. You've got the cat ears
I've got the ears on. I left the tail at home today, but I do have the ears on. I do have the collar on. And I have found sometimes that when I'm excited with joy, some people can't cope with that.
Right, yeah.
And asked me to try and tone it down a little.
Right, yeah.
Which I've struggled with, why?
Yeah. I feel like our culture has trouble with any big emotion.
And I think you're spot on with that.
Which is just a shame that it also comes out with joy and excitement.
I think you're spot on with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of fear in our culture around talking about so much
around
stuff.
Everything.
And being authentic.
Absolutely.
So it is really hard to be authentic, which is what we try to encourage.
All right, I'd like to give you one more chance to promo your company.
Yeah. Basically we do art workshops.
We've got Art Jam. This is Ellie from Art Jam.
Yeah, we do community activations as well. So we work at events. We do lots of work with local government like today. So at events or library services, youth services, all sorts of stuff.
And where do we find you? How do we find you?
So you can find us at artjamwa.com.au and we're artjamwa on all the socials.
And you're Rockingham based?
Perth.
Perth based?
Yeah.
Perth Central?
Yeah.
There we go.
Got a space up there at the moment. It's
there we go.
So, yeah, slowly growing.
Keep growing.
Yeah.
Growth mentality is what it's all about, don't you think?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much for having a chat to us, Ellie. Thank you for giving me a chance to be a part of your collage today.
Yes.
And thank you for having this wonderful chat.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, IPL.
Hello and welcome to IPL Radio. We're here at the City of Rockingham event today for World Suicide Prevention Day. I'm here with Chris. Thank you, Chris, for joining us today.
Hi.
Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I'm Chris Cotoni. My pronouns are he, she, they, as a non-binary person. My roles, so I work as a trainer and developer for Wesley Lifeforce, delivering suicide prevention training for free for community across the whole state. But I also co-chair the Park Suicide Prevention Collaborative, which is a group of service providers that have come together and gone, okay, across the Peel, Rockingham and Kwinana area, how are we collaborating to make sure everywhere is covered with suicide prevention services? And so that's why I'm here today.
Excellent, that's really good. So what I'm understanding is you collaborate between all the services to make sure they're not doubling up, they're providing the service that people are asking for, that type of thing?
Yeah, pretty much. So we try to get, and we do have actually quite a lot of, if not all of the services that are working within the Peel, Rockingham, Kwinana areas, including the local governments as well. They've all got a seat at the table, and we kind of come together and go, okay, so who's doing what, because we are all doing different things, and if we don't work together, then sometimes we're missing pockets, or, even for example, when people might come to one of my trainings, it leaves us with the gap of going, okay, but who's within that local area doing that work for us to say, when you're struggling or when you're supporting someone who's struggling, who can you go to? So we kind of bring it all together so we all know what's happening. We can all make sure it's evenly spread out, not over-servicing and not under-servicing an area, and then, collaborate on what actually happens.
So is it a government thing or is it a local government?
No, we're actually not government related at all. Admittedly, the group does have a history where it actually started as a post-vention response to a lot of suicides that were happening in the area. However, it's coming up to 2 years ago that it swapped from a post-vention response group into a prevention group, because there's actually a lot of people, so for example, Standby, who do amazing work providing that support when someone has been impacted or lost someone to suicide. And so they've taken over that body of work. There's no real need for it to be a post-vention group, and so we collaborate on the prevention focus.
So why are you involved? Can we go down that track? Do you have lived experience?
Very good question. And I failed to mention it in my intro, but yeah, exactly. I have lived experience. So for myself, so I mentioned I'm a queer non-binary person, and those experiences certainly contributed to a feeling of isolation growing up. I remember having thoughts of suicide as far back as the age of about 7 or 8. And unfortunately, it's something I lived with throughout my entire life up until it got to a point where I did attempt to end my life. I was very lucky to survive. And I'm grateful I did. And that experience, as much as you don't wish it upon anyone, that's what's given me the capacity to work in this space. It's what motivated me to start, the studies, to enter this space and to really work in the role I do.
sometimes I interview people in relation to mental health awareness, because IPL Radio is a mental health based radio station, and I found that, I know this doesn't sound right, but I found that a lot of people go through struggles, etc., to get to the point where they can be like yourself, like be open to talk. It's as if they were meant to go through that.
100%. Like, again, you don't really wish that suffering, that pain on anyone. And to be honest, sometimes you don't even want it for you. Well, not sometimes, you don't want it for yourself. But when you're able to come to a place of, I almost don't want to use the word healing, because it's a process and it's continual. Like, even for my mental health journey, I still have to continually manage my mental health. It doesn't just go away. But that experience has given me the motivation, the purpose, the drive, the care to want. Yeah. I mean, I spent some time also volunteering on Lifeline for, the crisis support lines for Lifeline, and that was a beautiful experience as well. But that's the thing with a person that has lived experience, so any person who's got lived experience, there is that process of getting yourself to a space where, maybe you choose that you do want to give back, which is the journey that I took. But there's also going to be people who don't want to work in that space too, as a person with lived experience. Exactly. There's no pressure to be doing that, because you got to do what's right for you, How do you find, because is this a full-time job for you? Yeah, the trainer and developer role for Wesley Lifeforce is a full-time role.
So how do you feel, because you're listening to people's stories all the time? I've found that with myself. I've had to have a break from the radio because I just felt it was too much. I'm a sponge and I take it in, and I need to work on my own mental health, if you know what I mean. How do you cope with that?
Really good question. So something I learnt, especially my time volunteering for Lifeline, was those healthy boundaries, to use that terminology. It's not easy though, because sometimes, and it's actually interesting, I was just having this conversation with a person I work alongside. I've recently actually just reached burnout. And so being completely transparent, because that's a real thing that we all face, right? Yeah, of course, sorry. Perfectly fine. Thank you. But, so yes, I've reached that point, and in reflecting, I used to work in various other sectors before I entered not-for-profit work, and you learn those boundaries when you hit burnout in those places, right? But then it's a different thing when you work in a space like this, where you personally care about what you do and the outcomes of it, and I'm having to rediscover what those boundaries are, and I started that work at Lifeline. But it's a continual process of practicing self-awareness, I think, is the key part of it. So okay, what are the signs for me where I'm hitting that point of going, actually, I need to take a break. Yeah. Yeah.
I agree. It is hard. And I'm just learning about boundaries, actually, and it is, and you were saying before how I don't think you ever get healed from mental health. I think it is a disease, and it's something that you will work on forever. That's my opinion.
I can totally see that and agree with that. So the words that I use to describe my own experience, and this is the beauty of it, right? Everyone's experience is different. But for me, I would probably say that it's, I kind of step away from just that term disease, because I think, is it disease, or is it actually that, maybe this is an understandable reaction to really adverse experiences we've gone through, I won't get into the details of what brought me to my place, but nonetheless, I think most of us in that space have had things happen in our journey through life that have actually led to us being in that space in some way, shape or form. And so, and everyone's experience is different, so this might not apply to everyone, but I do, on my own journey at least, reflect on it as perhaps this is more of a understandable experience to what you've gone through, Are
you in a good place now? You said you were going through the burnout thing. Are you having a break?
Yes. So I'm actually, I've got a week booked off for the last week of September, which is really nice. And I'm doing okay. I'm actually in a good space. It's just recognising it for myself so I can actually go, okay, let's not get to that space again. I know that I'm, not on the path to a bad space now, but I'm on the path to just sheer exhaustion. So, okay, take a step back, take care of you, so you can continue to rock up and help others,
Because if you're not strong, how can you be strong for everybody else, And I've also I'm learning a lot about myself lately, but I'm learning it's okay just to be okay. you don't have to be amazing every moment of the day. I don't have to be bright and positive and bubbly. It's okay just to be okay.
100%. It's the kind of lead with vulnerability. Like if you're familiar with Brené Brown at all?
No.
Amazing researcher from Texas, USA, I believe, does research on shame and vulnerability. And one of the things I've personally found really impactful and just powerful to know is that vulnerability also does have an element of strength to it. In fact, to express vulnerability is strong. It's
so courageous.
100%. And so, we talk, it is a continual practice for me, but like I work within mental health. And at the end of the day, like we would then be saying to people like, oh, make sure you engage in self-care and all that stuff. And that's great to say. But if we're not leading it by example, if we don't, for example, in the workplace, if your manager says, oh yeah, you can take sick days, but then you're observing them always work while they're sick because I've got to get this done, I've got to get that done. That doesn't give you permission to be sick, And we've all got to have that permission to be able to go, we're still capable, we can still function, but we can also have the days where things just aren't working and aren't happening, and that's okay too.
That is okay, yeah. So, with the RO, are you okay? Yes, I am okay. And because people ask me now, how are you doing? I'm okay. Yeah. I'm not good, I'm not really bad, but I'm okay. And that's fine, Thank you so much for joining us. I wish I'd have spoken to you earlier because you're lovely.
Thank you. You're lovely as well. You bring such a beautiful energy to these interviews or conversations, really.
I don't know where it comes from, but anyway, it's that mask.
From the heart.
Yeah, it is a passion. And you know what it's like, it is a passion. So have a great day. What's the rest of your day looking like?
Yeah, I'm going to go home to cuddle the puppy. Got a beautiful little Labradoodle named Luna, sorry. So cuddle her and cuddle the partner and, to be honest, probably some housework.
Oh, shit. Just, no, yeah, but I think you have to do the real stuff as well, but enjoy. I'm actually going to see a movie. I'm going to go and see Beetlejuice. Yeah, so that's great. So getting back to my 80s because I'm an 80s freak, so getting back to the 80s. So thank you so much for joining us and welcome to City of Rockingham and Suicide Prevention Day here at City of Rockingham, Gary Holland Centre. Back with you. Thank you.